question in the sense that it's come from the experience. To be honest with you guys, I'm not an expert in housings. To be honest with you, I must say that. And we haven't done any specific research in housings. Most of our research in the mosque. So if you ask me about mosque, I will give more answers that I will give on housings. The thing is that I would like to highlight here is that we are lucky. That didn't come in the early stage of my presentation. When I started, I was telling you the stories of this slide. The slide is that one day in 2003, we are requested by one of the developer communities to present something on housing. So it's not our expertise. So what me and my professor said, we were still in Kalam in UTM, we said that okay lah, you play want us to present housing, we will present something that we believe to be right lah. So this is what we believe important. Others people by saying in different ways. We believe that housing should be a human things. It's not only about investment, it's only about the price of the house. It's about human. Let's talk about housing as a place of humans. Then they say, okay lah, you can present that. Okay, then take the one that we present. So what we saw, actually, the things that I present to you is something that we saw in our housings in Malaysia as problems. So we didn't derive from any theoretical frameworks of housings. It's not our fields. But what I found out, actually, the first question that I would like to highlight here is that why the housing in Malaysia is very expensive. There's a big question marks for me. Because why? Because Malaysia is not, you don't have many populations here. In Jakarta, we have 30 million people in Jakarta. And the housing is not that expensive. Of course, like, the center of Jakarta is very expensive. But why here is very expensive? Cars, yes. Cars in Indonesia and in Malaysia is different. In Indonesia, you can get Avanza for like 40 to 50,000 ringgit. But in Malaysia, you get 70,000. It's different there. But of course, Indonesia cheap because our manufacturers is Indonesia. It's not like in Malaysia, the manufacturer was in Thailand. That's why there's a cost there. But the housing comes into my mind. So expensive. Why the price of the housing now has become more and more expensive? And based on the Bank Negara's record, one of the contributors for bankruptcies among youngsters, young executive, is the housing loan. Because you are forced to take a loan. You are taking a loan and you're forcing your financial situations. And you have a salary, I think if you have a salary of 5,000 with the loan of the houses of 1,500 per month, it's already very expensive. Some of the houses can go up to 1,500. And it loans goes to 30 years. 30 tahun is 30 years. You can imagine, in 30 years, for example, we take 5% of loan, 5% of loan, 30 years it will become 150%. If you make a loan of 500,000, that becomes 150. You pay 2 million for your house. So it can buy 3 houses. It's very expensive. And then I was wondering why it's so expensive. And I'm not involving in the politics, so I didn't know. But why it's so expensive? And it crossed my mind. Why can't we make it cheaper? And it's for me, I'm not criticizing the government. It can be done if you want. The question is, do you want it or not? Singapore did that. My idea is very simple. If you want to make the price of house lower, make a lot of apartment in the heart of Kuala Lumpur and rent it in a very low price. You build up like 5,000 of apartment, 500 apartment there, 50,000 rooms. The price was swinging down very fast because nobody will buy the house. But now, if you realize, even the condominiums or apartments is very expensive. 500,000, 600,000, 1 million. I asked one of my students, Tingwei, our student, he have one house in the mines beside the lakes. Oh, Tingwei, your house must be very about 1.5 million. So it's 3.5 million. Oh, it's very expensive. 3.5 million, the price of the house. And it's not going down, I think. In Jakarta, yes, we have a trend of the increasing of housings. And the new regulation of Indonesia, the Gofar told me, is that now you cannot sell a house which was not built. That was the new regulation of Indonesia, and it makes lots of developer bankrupt in Indonesia, in Jakarta. Now Gofar become very rich developer now, because he is buying the bankrupt developers. When you bankrupt, you sell your asset at a very low price that he was buying. Now he has, I think, more than 14 companies under him. So that's the question that I think we need to think about it very much. So do we need to buy a house in the sense that with that kind of price, is it reasonable or not? So as a users, as Prof. Hairul might be recalling again with the questions. Now, environmental issues is become a lot of problems now in Malaysia. Previously, when I was staying at Mantin, you never have a problem with water. Negeri Sembilan water was tip top. We never have like Selangor is always normal to have a water problem. Even before the opposition times. Because one of Prof. Tajudin's mothers was at Kajang. He has a lot of tongs, big tongs in the house. Selangor is normal to have a water problem, but Negeri Sembilan never have a water problem before. We always are very clean. Even if I have my water filters, it only replaced after 2-3 months. I say it's good, it's very nice. Water in Negeri Sembilan was nice, but now with the development in Nilai, in Seremban, in Semenyih, you can see the difference. And the flood is also become a problem now. So yes, back to the questions that the future housings in Malaysia. So who's going to advise the government, or who's going to advise the policymakers? The same thing with the question that I asked to the students. When the kids fell down from the high-rise apartment, whose mistake is that? So the whole class, is that? And that is the parents' problem, because parents leave the kids alone. But you cannot blame sometimes the parents. Even to the extent, most of them was blaming the local authorities for allowing those kind of corridors to be built. But not a single person in the class was blaming the architects for their mistakes. Not a single student. One student said, there is the mistake of the kids because they're playing around. You don't have any kids, you can say that. Your kids will be playing around the house, you will turn your house upside down. It's normal for the kids. So, but who is the one who have the knowledge for that? Who is the person who have the knowledge? We are the one who have the knowledge. So, and the politicians don't have the knowledge. As long as they keep on throne, that was their concern. That was I learned from the political movies. So we should be advising them on that. So advising have a lot of meanings. Whether you are writing in newspapers, whether you are doing a research on that one and publish your research, and whether you do even you do your master PhDs on that, there's also a part of advising the things. And I was surprised, my diploma student, when he did research on this one, I don't know if anyone have done it, but I think this is very urgent research that he need to do. And he did a report, final project report. He do a surveys on the Negeri Sembilan, Seremban and Nilai, in more than 50 cases in the last 5 years. Children fall from the high-rise buildings. And it's a normal. He interviewing the bomba, interviewing the police, interviewing. So Wow, it's a big case, man. It's a big issue. It's not a small matter. Maybe during the previous time, it only appeared in the newspapers. Now we have a Facebook, now we have a TV, now we can directly see it. But before this, maybe we didn't realize. So lots of issues in that. Of course, some of them will die, some of them is permanently disabled. So the issues of environment, of the humanistic issues is very important. So unless, I don't know if in this room anybody can answer my question, why is so expensive the housing in Malaysia. So I think that require a politician, I think. So in order for us to change the condition, we need to have we need to advise the respected people, and that is involving the governments and the policymakers. But by, I don't know, by how long to see it, whether it's not buying a house is a good option or not for youngsters. But for me, if I was the government, the easiest way is to contribute to the housing problem is just make it lots of walk-up apartment in Kuala Lumpur and rent it in a very low price. And just do that, and then it's shrinking down. Singapore did that. That's why in Singapore, all the properties belong to the government. Even your cars belong to the government. Your house belongs to the government. So you can't have anything on your own. That was the most communist countries in the world. If you ask me, well, how the most communist country in the world, it's not China, it's not Soviet, it's not. Because they have the system on that. That was my personal opinion, sir. Okay? I hope that's.
Maybe if I can share something, I believe apart from those are the ways that we can do to reduce costs and prices of housing in Malaysia. And I think we need to have a force to bring back this Islamic housing attitudes. For example, in Malaysia, in Kelantan, in the east coast of Malaysia, the way they sell the house is different. That means the house has got to be ready. You see the house, then only you akad. That means you agree to buy the house. You already see the quality, whatever. On contrary, in Kuala Lumpur and other parts of Malaysia, you buy only on paper. Then only when the houses are ready, then only you have to agree. You don't have any choice but to accept because you're already paying from day one. After 2 years of paying price of the houses, and then only it's ready for you to come in, and you just have to agree with whatever detailings, whatever finishes they gave to you. So I think we have to write more papers and urge in public media and whatnot to bring back the right way of buying things, especially houses. I mean, we have to go back to Sunnah. The thing has got to be ready, then only you akad, means you agree to pay for the house, or else you don't buy. Okay? And the other things is that in order to reduce the prices of the houses, maybe I'm suggesting for us to be much more vocal and to dictate the developer to give what you want, because you are paying them. They are supposed to be your consultant. That means they build the house for you. But now they build a house for us, but they force us to just accept what they want us to see while they are making money out of it. So I believe what we can do now is actually we can agree to the size. For example, low cost, medium cost, and high cost. They have standard size. Maybe 20 by 60 or 25 by 60 for the medium cost housing. But you decide what would be the layout of the house. Inside the house, they can do the planning, they can do the roads, they can do the public spaces and whatnot. But inside the house, you dictate, because sometimes some of the family members, they have 4 children, all are girls. So they maybe want to have a huge bedroom for these 4 girls to stay together. Or maybe they have only 1 boy, and then they have 3 girls, so they need smaller bedroom for the boys and whatnot. So you dictate, and you decide with the developer what kind of layout you want. So then it fits to your necessity. And the other thing is that if they want to reduce the cost, then they can reduce on the finishing materials. Maybe they don't really need tiles that is from the floor to ceiling, especially for the bathroom Jakarta and whatnot, so they can do that. So that means in one terrace housing development, you can see different kind of layouts, different kind of finishing based on the ability of the owner to pay for and what they want. So then only you can develop the feeling of belonging, and also you know that the house you're buying satisfies you forever. So this could be, but we need to have this movement because everyone here in Malaysia now being silent, accepting. This is the culture of accepting what we came. And more importantly is that we are accepting other people's culture, bringing back to us, and we live without our, although we don't like it, but we tend to agree. So I believe we need a movement among architects, among designers, among landscape architects to tell people that this look, we are going to reach 2020 in the next 4 years' time. So we need to have something after 2020. And we are the people that is basically creating this vibrance or this movement of telling people, telling the minister, telling the government, this is what we really want. Because we don't have that yet. We do research, we keep it in the Scopus Journal. Who cares? Even the minister didn't read Scopus Journal, right? And then we do some master thesis and we put it on shelf. So don't even our vice chancellor didn't know what we are studying. So now we have to do this movement in a very good way. But we have to tell people, we have to educate people.
Just to share a little bit, I was reminding something. The thing, why Gofar's firm was my friend's firm was very success in selling house is that they are implementing the way Crawford's having a business. So my friends, if his architect firm was commissioned to build your house, he will come with the exact price of the materials. My firm is not doing that. I have a firm in Jakarta, so our gang's firms. So my friend's firm was very good. He was coming to you, okay, sir, this is the materials that we bought. They will bring all the receipt with you in front of you. So this is the things, and this is my commissions. I'm taking this much of the commissions. If you're okay with it, we proceed. So the client have a very big trust on the architects. So that's why the way that's the way they're selling the housing now in Indonesia. The so-called Atias Islamic ways of doing a business in architectures. And now a client this kind of exercise is becoming more common. I've been to Malang, I've been to Medan, I've been to some areas in Jakarta. Now they are starting to use this kind of approach. Before this is not. My firms, when we did a business, we have a gangs of furniture companies. my friend's fathers, he has a company, furniture companies beside our firms. So when we have projects, now we have commission from the consultant fee. Consultant we can price into 5%, 3%, but we make another profit from the paintings, from the furnitures. That was the common practice. That's what we're doing in the practice worlds. We are taking a profit from other things. And then in Indonesia, as an architect, you also a landscape architect. You also quantity surveys, and you also planners. So we conquer everything. So that's why in architect firms, I managed to visit some architect firms, even in Bali, the Bensley Design Studios. Bensley Design Studios have 30 architects with him. They don't have any designer. They only have draftsmen. So the 30 architect is the one who go talk with the client and do the projects and do the calculation and everything. This how they take away all the things. So what I'm trying to tell you is that now it's become a good cultures of practicing in Indonesia. Whereas when you give your practice, you give your consultancy, you're telling them what you are doing. Yeah. Like you are selling, you know the way why Crawfords have so many customers during when he was a businessman. Because he was telling the people, okay, I'm buying this stuff, this pen, I buy this pen for 2 ringgits. So I'm selling you 2.5 ringgits. So the person, okay, now you go to Pasar Malam, 10 ringgit cannot be 8 ringgit ke? Oh, I already buy for 9 ringgit. So it cannot be lower. Oh, I buy for 5 ringgit only. So the honest approach of selling things. Now it's become trend in Indonesia. Now if you have you want to develop a house, you go to some of the consultant, they will let you know, okay, what do you want? Okay, this is the price of the materials, this is the price of my works, this is the commission that I get. It's very clear. Black and white, very clear. You can calculate, okay, you want to bagian everything. So okay lah, this is depend on the business. That is, sorry to interrupt, that was what I remind of. Maybe any other comment? Maybe that's all. Naim, I give the forum. Before Naim say anything, we hope that this forum is not end here. So I hope that these are our group's initiatives. Yeah? We want to have so-called intellectual discourse because we haven't been meeting for so many months now. We have a lot of meetings, but not in this forum meeting. So in the future, this forum shouldn't be an architect's events. It shouldn't be a lecturer's events. Yeah, Naim and others. Intan and Farima. We want this event to be a student's event. So it's become a culture in our research group, especially. Whereas if you want to present anything, you can present. That's we call it intellectual discourse. It's not that today is kind of formal. The setting was kind of formal. But in the future, if you can just share your knowledge here. It's okay. Nothing going to be blame you for that. Nothing is going to say that you were wrong. We are students, we are learning together. Even the professor can make mistakes. It's normal. It's normal for us to make mistakes. And as far as we can learn something from that, then we can grow together. Okay. So before time is given, so I really hope that this event won't be the last one. Maybe at the end I will show you our program for this month. But every Friday we will meet. Whether your lecturer is around or your lecturer is not around, we will run the program. I keep telling some of the students, even if 2 person coming, we will still doing the intelligence course. Can we have that? Okay, maybe I will come back to that.
Thank you, Dr. Nantula, for your presentation and answering questions. As Dr. Nantula already said, this intellectual discourse is not just a program for this Friday. It is a series of discourses throughout the month and in Fridays. So that especially as I'm a student, I can tell you that this is a great opportunity for us, for the students, to meet with the lecturers. Because otherwise it's very hard to meet them. We need to get appointments, and then but this course, if we come regularly, then I think it will be a great opportunity for us to meet the lecturers and discuss with them whatever we want. So as you can see, we have other presentations on the other Fridays in this April. I hope all of us can join the presentation, inshallah. So now we can finish the intellectual discourse of this. I request all of you to say Durud to our Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
So the next one will be Naim.
Inshallah. That will be an interesting presentation. The title shown here is not the title that I'm going to present. It will be something else. It will be something on actually all the developments we are seeing in our current civilization, as Dr. Nan was saying. Actually, where we are going and what will be the future of all this development and resource exploitation, what's ahead of us. So the presentation will be about that thing. It will be interesting, inshallah. I hope all of you can come and join so we can share. So with this, I announce that today's intellectual discourse is finished, and thank you again all of you for coming to lectures and the students. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Please write down your names correctly. If possible, make the word, because we want to produce the certificate for you. We afraid that the name won't be the right one lah. Yang Lazra boleh distribute belakang tak? Mungkin nanti saya dapat makan.